this sunny Sunday. You already know we right here. We're decided to hop on, chop it up with individuals. It was the talk of the town is going down. We're under the curve. You heard me. Here in Southern California, it's a hot day, beautiful day. You know, there's like that summer type weather to be out and about, enjoying yourself. You know, but if you're out there, you know, make sure to always be aware of your surroundings. Don't drink and drive, and always, you know, stay cool. As for me, you already know. Decided to hop on, see what's good. Let me just set this up real quick. Whoopsie. Oh, what am I doing? What the fuck? And I did drop a battle rap reaction on my other channel. If you guys are curious, you know, to scope that out. You know, another 2 banger ass tracks. Especially one by my boy Guns Lozano. Go scope it out. You know, talented individuals. What's cracking like Mr. Pasa's definitely up in the casa for the raza. Woo-hoo. What's good with you, my boy? Had a good day today. You did? That's right, my boy. Eso es todo. That's what it's all about, carnal. The homie Angel's definitely up in the house, too. What's up, my boy? What's good with you? Hope everything's going, you know, a toda madre. Hope everything's going fir. You already know, my boy. We're chilling here. You know, enjoying, you know, the day, the heat. It's hot. Apparently listening to corridos. I guess they're having a party around this bitch and somebody's bumping corridos. Somebody's bumping the rolas. Getting all pedo. My bad, I'm just messing right here. I'm just moving this shit to the side because when I first opened it up, I don't know what the fuck I did. Like all these boxes popped up like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? Okay, I can make these ones. I can't get rid of this one though. I don't know what the fuck. Bro. Okay, this is stupid. I'm just start fucking with it. Have you ever met Midget Loco from Primera? Yeah, I met him. I met him at one of his CDs. What's that shit called? Release parties or whatever that they do. Album party or whatever. Yeah, he was cool. Jugar pedo. What am I saying, brocha? That's right, my boy. Woo, brocheros up in the house. We ate some tacos dorados, carnal. Ya sabes. My sister smells of fish. Serio? Maybe she went fishing. Maybe she just got done eating fucking what's that shit called? That shit that fucking people eat, the fucking sushi. There you go. Maybe she got done eating sushi. I am from Mexico. Shout out to Mexico. Pa toda la raza, ya sabe uno. Woo-woo. Even though they're trying to build a wall. I just met him at an event. He's cool. He was like all right. Yeah. That's right, because of Primera. Yeah, he's a female individual, bro. Really down to earth. Cool. When you come to the AZ, serio, huh? She be cracking out there? And you? I am from here, from Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles. Pero lógico que mi familia es de México, de Jalisco. Puro Jalisco, carnal, ya sabe. It's getting hot in the AZ now. Serio, even down here, bro. Like, you feeling that heat already. Va a estar cabrón. What's cracking, Legendary? What you getting yourself into, my boy? Hey, Lakers and Timberwolves, first round. Yee, that shit's gonna be vicious, my boy. Vicious. That's gonna be a good first round, bro. Good first round. And it's Golden State against the Clippers in the first round, too. Ooh, my boy. Shit, I think the first rounds might be better than the finals, if anything. Because, you know, shit, those are some really good matchups right there, bro. Clippers and Warriors and fucking Wolves and Lakes. I mean, I'm a little worried about our power in the paint, but, you know, we might pull it off. We might pull it off. Just that we're really small in the paint, bro. Really small. I think our tallest guy's like 6'9". Or 6'8". It's not much to work with. Valiendo shit. I mean, but they're young, though, so they got a lot of energy. You know? But then they got Randall and Gobert, though. It's gonna be tough. I mean, at least I'm confident enough that I know that at least we have two players that can at least go off, right? Like, I'm not saying that it might have, but at least, you know, they're gonna go off on a few games here and there, right? Which is like LeBron or Luka. They could easily, you know, heat up and drop, you know, drop some fuego. Because I know Edwards, I know he could get hot real quick too. What's good, Dishpo? Chilling on my day. Oh, that's right. Yes, your night off. That's good. That's good. Is there any Chicano rap rolas that sample corrido beats? Yes. No. Well, I don't know. They're like corrido songs, but they're kind of rap a little bit. But there's a few. But I don't know if I would actually call them rap songs. I think they're more corridos, if anything. Well, maybe. I don't know. They could probably be considered rap, maybe. Yeah, but I actually know of some. It's just that corridos move at a different pacing than rap, though, so it's kind of hard to combine the two, you know? Like I said, it's just a different type of stilo in music. It's a little bit more difficult. Doing my homework and getting ready to eat some good food. Mama cook. That's right, my boy. Shit. Nothing but the best. I found out about the female Chicano rapper I was asking you about. Oh, serio? Puro Islos, dice el camarada. Her name is La Baby Smiley. Why do their names always have to have that? I swear, none of the homegirls ever had a name like that. From Colorado, she died. Oh, she died? Damn, that sucks. R.I.P. to her then. In a shooting? Damn. She was active. Oh, well, yeah. Man, it's a whole game. How old was she? That's fucked up. I always tell people, you go out there playing, bro. I mean, it gets real out there. It gets real quick. You think San Andreas did San Fierro Rifa dirty? You remember how they interact when you bump into them in the game? Nah, I don't remember how they like. Well, what do they say? I roughly don't remember. I remember like the ones, you know, in the what's that shit? Like in the beginning of the game, like los Barrio Aztecas and the Santo Vagos. But I don't really remember like the San Fierro part and all that. I mean, I remember I did reach that shit because I know I didn't pass the game, but you know, I roughly don't remember like those guys over there. I thought it was a trip though when I seen it, you know, San Fierro Rifa. I was like, they added the Rifa part. That's good. Makes it legit. Or they added the Barrio part to the Aztecas. Makes it legit. The only thing that's not legit is the letters they cross out, but like what? Not even a gang right there that has a letter like that. I hope you will have a good. I hope you will have a good. I hope I will have a good day. Do you like the narco corridos music from Mexico, which is like the Mexican gangster rap? Do you mess with But actually, yeah, I fuck with Mexican music, bro. Yeah, corridos and all of that. I'm not gonna say like I'm a big super fan or whatever, but I do hear them. You know, I do bump them. You know, from time to time when we're chilling. But I hear obviously more rap. But yeah, I fuck with all of that Spanish music, especially in los parties. Psst. It's not a party until you whip out, and not even just corridos, but like cumbias and all that. Like you gotta be playing like La Vaca and fucking caliente, caliente, La Vaca, moo. All those tracks, bro. That's when the party's cracking. Oh, so it's not cracking if they don't play those rolas. Un, dos, tres. Ah. Uno sale con las pinches botas en el sombrero, bien vergas. Be looking like fucking Chingo Bling. Cuando se paran todos. Ah. Like, damn, she came to alive. It's alive. Shadow, give it a carnal. What's good, the Mexican G? What do electric cars have in common? The fear of not making it home in time. That was actually creative. That's funny. Nah, Elon Musk said his cars are reliable. Elon Musk said that you got nothing to trip. He said don't even tripas. Ghost cover. Orale. Yo, what's good? San Fierro Rifa GT. Reminds me of EPR when well, there's a lot of neighborhoods that use the Rifa, the King Cobra Rifa, and so many other, Barrio Vista Rifa. Shit, a lot of neighborhoods just put it, just to put it. And, manda saludos el. Hey, igualmente. Have you heard about Speedy Loc? Who's your favorite deceased Chicano rapper? Mine would be Blackie Fontana. My favorite deceased rapper? I would actually have to give that some thought. Speedy Loc? Who's Speedy Loc, though? Which one is he? I don't think I have heard of a Speedy Loc. But so many rappers have died already that it's like, you know what I mean? So a lot actually has passed away. Dang. It's crazy. Hey, but that's the street life for you, bro. It ain't no joke. Fuck around and get smoked. You like listening to Banda Rap? Banda Rap? ¿Cuál es esa? Like grupos como que, like, que hacen rap, pero banda, igual. Tal vez un ejemplo. Fontana was some down ass fools. Fontana, has some down ass fools. Yeah, Fontana has riders, bro, in their sets. I'm telling you, bro, it cracks in Fontana. It may not look it, but like I said, bro, looks could be deceiving. Like I said, bro, the way areas look, have absolutely nothing to do with anything. Fucking area could look lovely and rich, but that don't mean shit, bro. If motherfuckers are coming for your headpiece, shit, the area's not gonna change that. And that's just facts. Never underestimate anything. Facts, bro. When you start, like getting comfortable and shit like that is when you get smoked. You always gotta keep truch, no matter what. Porque uno nunca sabe. He has a lot of grimy cities like Fontana, San Bernardino, Cole. Yeah, bro. The IE is active, bro. Well, like I said, bro. Anywhere you have individuals, it could get active, bro. You know what I mean? Anywhere you go. Not even just in California. In general, bro. In general. Because like I said, that type of mentality and environment doesn't only exist here in California. Shit, it exists even in the Middle East, even in Europe, even in Asia. You know what I mean? There's this channel I follow, the homie Bach. If you're interested in learning about, overall the government and the GOPs and all of that, he covers those type of topics, and he talks about he's Middle Eastern, right? So he talks about the whole, life over there, and you do have, well, they're not really called gangs, but they're gangs, and they go at it with each other for territory, for control of land, pues, but they don't really call it territory, but control of land, which is essentially territory, right? Because you have groups like the Al Qaeda doesn't like ISIS don't like the Taliban's, and they all fight, so it's like gangbanging, bro, pretty much, right? Because they do claim their territory with flags and writing and colors, right? So I mean, it's gangbanging, bro. You know what I mean? It is just at a higher level, right? Because these motherfuckers are using actually military weapons and shit like that, right? So, like that shit exists everywhere, bro. You have groups of individuals, just even in, this is one of my subscribers who I was actually FaceTiming with, and he lives in France, right? But he came across my channel because he was actually looking for gangs, but in France, right? But my channel popped up, so that's how. Because I even asked him, like, hey, how the fuck did you, like, why are you watching my channel? Like, out of curiosity, because obviously in France, what the fuck? But he was like, yeah, and he says that over there they have a lot of gangs too. And I'm like, in France? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? He started telling me something, right? Sent me some pictures. I'm just like, there's a lot of graffiti in France too. I'm just like, I don't know why I just never pictured that. That's because when you think about places like that, you don't really think about shit like that, right? You think of Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, you think of places like that, right? But then when it's like in these, I'm just like, what a trip. So it's like you really can't escape the madness. Everywhere you have people, you're just going to have chaos. Because, a lot of people just say, oh, that shitty mentality of California is why they have, like, bro, gangs exist everywhere, bro. In every fucking country in this planet. Not just here. Check out the California. It's in good music. Orale. It was confirmed OG Yogi was backdoored by his own gang, the channel. Oh, no. I'm not talking about the backdoor. I'm talking about something like something else that he brought up in that video. You get what I'm saying? Because the thing is that I actually talked to homies from what, you know what I mean? So that's how I know more of this, like, I know more of the story, but I'm just not going to say it on camera, right? And that's just information that he won't be able to obtain, you get what I mean? He just does his research, but like I actually hang out with these individuals, so it's a little bit different, right? And like there's just more stuff to it, but it's just stuff that I, obviously I'll never throw out there. You know what I mean? I mean, I could, but I would never. Yeah. There's stuff like that gets thrown out there that I'm just like, I don't know, it's a little irritating, sort of, because like you're, it's just like it's nobody's concern but theirs and their neighborhoods and shit like that, right? And to do it for financial gain is kind of like especially when the individuals, right? But it is what it is, though. People have the right to do whatever they want, But it's just that when people get upset and now they are looking to voice themselves, and it's like, well, you can't be mad at them on why they're mad. Because obviously people do get mad. Just makes it a little bit difficult. You put yourself in hot water, play with fire, you get burned. I heard of Has a click in East Hollywood. I thought it was. Oh yeah. They have the West Side Wifins. That's where my boy Smiley's from. Yeah, but they've been there. They've been there for a long time already. like established there, like legit and everything. Like but they've been there for since the 90s, bro. Ya tienen rato allí. Because it's not that far. It's not that far. That's how it always is with neighborhoods. You have homies that move to certain areas, right? And then they just establish over there, People think that if you take the homie at the hood, that he's going to somehow change, but it's not going to happen. He's just going to take that mentality to whatever area you throw him at and, just spread it there. Like people don't understand. It has nothing to do with the area. Like, the area is not going to change these individuals. That's why we say that the area has absolutely nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? They'll bang and claim their shit wherever the fuck they're at. Removing them is not going to change that. You know what I mean? But like I said, people are just stubborn. Like I said, bro, it's hard looking in that mirror. So they just they'll try everything except the shit that could actually fix the problem. Because then that would have to mean that they would have to look at themselves in the mirror, and they're just not willing to do that, bro. So they'll try, anything but that. Move the areas, put them in juvenile halls, and put them in after-school programs, and send them or have these people talk to them. But like I said, bro, they'll try every option except the option that really works. Like, sit down and actually, have these conversations, and what you did wrong as well. Not just throwing it all on them. But there's a reason why they're displaying these behaviors, and it's now looking at maybe the mistakes that you made, right? But they're going to be like, I didn't make no fucking mistakes. I'm not a gang member, so therefore, I have no mistakes. Like, well, just because you're not from the streets doesn't mean that you're not doing nothing bad. Huh? When was it? About 2 weeks ago, we went to the park. Me and my kids and my wife and everything. And, my kids were playing and and all that. I was playing football with them y todo el pedo, And there was a little boy, he had went to go swing on the swings, with my youngest son and my daughter. And his mom was on the fucking phone the whole entire time. Pinche boy hasta se les fue, you know what I mean? And she did not pay attention. He even fucking fell once nasty style from arriba del pinche jungle, whatever shit. And she did not even once pay attention to him, bro. And he's over here like, mommy, ni lo pelaba. She was just like, I'm like, fuck, anybody could have just fucking grabbed that kid and bounced, bro, And it's like, fucking people are so ignorant, bro. That shit's not even funny. And the kid is bien desmadroso. Like, he was a rowdy kid. And I could see why, bro. He's desperately trying to get his mom's attention, that's when they display, like, when you see kids that are very, rowdy, like, they're doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing, it's because they develop that habit because whenever, they do something that they're not supposed to, they see that the parent, comes now and actually shows them affection, even if it is, because they're in trouble, right, or yelling at them or whatever, but now they're actually communicating and they actually are showing that they care, right? So the kid now realizes, okay, so if I want their attention, all I have to do is, this kind of stuff. And then he thinks that that's the bond that they have with their parent. Like, that's the connection. That's how they communicate, He doesn't see it like he's doing it to purposely get them mad, but he's doing it because he feels like that's the only way he can get their attention. And that's when they build up these types of habits, right? Or why they display these kind of habits when you see kids that are like, like that. Because it's the only time that the parent actually goes and, no, don't do that. You're not supposed to. You're going to get hurt. So, now the kid is actually getting some affection and communication. That's why they build up those habits. You know what I'm saying? People don't see, how much of a difference communication does or has with the child, bro. But it makes all the difference in the world. Because even though you're buying him all these toys and games and putting a roof over his head and feeding him, if you're not actually communicating and actually showing interest in him and what he has going on, then he's going to think you don't give a fuck about him, bro. And buying him all this is not going to change that, bro. It's pretty much going to be like you're doing this to distract him because anytime he wants to conversate with you, he sees that he bugs you, Like, I'm busy. Go over there. Go play with your toys or go play the game. You know, he's like, you're just shushing him away. Like, you know, you don't want nothing to do with him. You know, he's going to start to think that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they're just buying me all this and that for I won't bug them. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's not good to do that kind of shit. You know? But people don't see it that way. They be like, you know, like, hey, the guy had both of his parents and they worked and he got everything. Like, but yeah, he's fucking ungrateful. But they're not understanding. Yes, you can. They gave him everything except what he wanted, which is their fucking attention. You know? That's why you see these fucking rich kids that do all these crimes and murder. You know what I mean? And it's like they had it all. You know what problems could they have had in their life? Like, well, they had everything except what they wanted, which is actually their fucking time. Can I get 3 minutes of your time, please? 5, if anything. That's why you have some people that are poor as fuck that live in the most ghettoist, gang-infested areas whose kids are good kids and don't grow up to be gang members. Because those parents did something right, bro. And even though they didn't have much, they did enough to keep that kid out of trouble. They did enough that kid felt loved at home and, you know, no need for him to go seek validation anywhere else. And that doesn't take money. You don't need money for that. You know what I mean? Because let me tell you something. A kid when he's young, at that age that he's a kid, he doesn't give a fuck if the house he's sleeping in has fucking 1 room or fucking 30 rooms. If he has his parents there. That's all he gives a fuck about. He don't care about if they have Lamborghinis and all that. You know? What he'd rather have is spending quality time with his parents, bro. You know? But if they're choosing all of this over him, then you can't be mad when he's choosing that shit over them. You know? Or be like, what happened? Or what went wrong? Or give access to the internet. That's the worst. Yes. You know? They'll pick up as much bad habits that they can pick up in the streets. You know? If they're following a bunch of people who think stupid. You know what I mean? Because if their parents are not there to actually guide them and actually establish the proper lessons, whatever, then they're going to actually get parent by somebody else, whoever they're fucking following. You know what I mean? Because at least with him, he feels like they have at least a bond and an understanding, even though it's a video that's meant for multiple people, right? But like I said, they take it, you know, as like a connection. That's why you see a lot of people when they support some of these, you know, influencers, like to the fullest, right? Like they'll fucking die for them. But that's why, though. You know, they had to put their connection somewhere. As a child, you gotta put your connection somewhere, bro. You put all your emotions somewhere. That's why these individuals care so much for their neighborhoods. You know, all that love and affection that should have gone for their family, it's absent, right? So they throw it all into their gangs. That's why they live and die by them and are willing to, just like anybody else is willing to die for their parents. A kid is going to find somewhere to put all his emotions in. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, even in gangs, it could be in other stuff. Gambling, fucking alcohol, drugs, prostitution, you know? Aggressive behavior, but somewhere. They're going to channel it somewhere else. Sports. You see some people that they do it to sports. Mike Tyson did it to boxing. You know, he put all his emotions in boxing. That's why he loved it so much. He didn't have a parent. He grew up in a fucked up, you know, environment, right? And he felt like the boxing in the gym that the coach took him in, you know, saved his life, bro. That's why. That's where he spent all his time. That's where he threw all his feelings in. Kobe Bryant did it to basketball. So did Michael Jordan. You know, Kobe Bryant had a tough relationship with his parents. As a matter of fact, when he died, him and his parents weren't even talking. You know what I mean? You know, him and his parents didn't have a good connection, a good bond. You can see why he was so great at basketball. He spent all his time there and, you know, put all his feelings in that sport. Because obviously he couldn't put it on his father and mother. Same with Michael Jordan. Same with Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? But these people have to put it somewhere. You know what I mean? And that's why they care for their sport so much. And why they, roughly didn't have a good bond with their parents. You know what I mean? If they didn't have that, trust me, they would have, Mike Tyson even said it, he would have been lost in the streets. I mean, he barely escaped because he had drug problems and arrested a gang at times, right? So you can see the how can I say, the thin line he was walking in. How close he was to just throwing his life away like every other individual. You know what I mean? And even look at years later when they become successful and all the money and everything, they still couldn't fix their relationship. And it still bothered them, even though they were already old and rich. It still bothered them. Because those types of scars, they last forever, bro. Neglection's a real shit, homie. Real. But it's shit that people, don't really think about and don't actually really think that it's actually that much of a big deal. Like, talking to the kid, or paying attention to the kid. How much of a difference is that going to make? All the difference in the fucking world, bro. But people rather, have their own time. They rather they're selfish, I want to, do me. I don't want to be, right there in the back of the kid and seeing all this and playing, I'd rather be chilling with my friends and going out, you know what I mean? Then fuck it, bro. Then don't be fucking bitching when your fucking kid is out there running amok and you don't know how to fucking tame him. Because remember, you put yourself over him. When you should already know, once your kid is born, bro, it's your kid above anything else. You come second. Like, I'll feed my kids, before I eat, homie. How am I going to eat and then feed my kids after? Come on now. But that's what people rather do. Like, nah. I'm going to eat, and if there's enough left over, then I'll give you some. Like, fucking people. Scandalous in this world. I'm not a bad, but I go to church, and I didn't join no gangs. And that automatically now, is not their fault. Or it's not because of him, it's because of his friends. Yeah, because kids put their friends' decision over their parents. Bro, you're their idols, bro. To them, they'll always look up. It's their parents before anybody else, bro. I'm gonna fucking tell them otherwise. When they're picking them, it's because their parents and them don't have a bond, don't have a connection. Shit, anytime he ever wanted to talk to them, they just kicked him to the curb. So, of course, now he's choosing that. Because when he tried with you, you were like, fuck you. So now he's like, fuck you. Can't be mad at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. We're going to get back to it. It was good chopping it up with you guys, and we out.